What's going on, man? Welcome back to your third of six Elite Action Taker Talks. Let's just be real here, all right? Elite Action Takers quietly and not so quietly laugh at the 99% of guys out there who are living in painful, quiet, idle mediocrity. But unlike them, we continue taking more action on our path. Okay, we take elite self-motivated action on our path at whatever cost, because we do not sacrifice our ambition. However, we do achieve it because we are willing to do whatever the fuck it takes. All right. Anyways, I got a great talk for you today. I literally just took a 3-mile walk probably around my neighborhood. As I was going over the notes for this specific talk, I wanted to make sure that they were perfect, ready, and of course up to my standards, okay? And I'm ready to rock if you are. So let's begin. All right, so today's talk is all about becoming and being a genius. Pretty cool topic to talk about, right? I'm pretty excited, pretty stoked about this one. It's really cool because if I'm giving a talk on being a genius, that would of course imply that I am a genius. It would also imply that you are already a genius or you're about to become a genius. So from one genius to another, let's begin. So there are 4 extremely important reasons why you always want to be a genius. And to me, it's so powerful and so effective, especially such a crucial aspect in your life as a man, because we're going to just be real here. I don't know how old you are necessarily. You could be a college student. You could be in your 20s and your 30s. There are several guys in here who are in their 40s and are already millionaires and so on. And they're building their 3rd and 4th businesses, and they are still ambitious, still on their path, and still attracting the wealth that they want in their life. It's beautiful. I admire it. Okay, guys of all ages, no matter where you are right now, you really have 2 choices. Are you going to be somewhat intelligent? You're going to be like most people where you know a little bit about some things. Or are you going to become a genius? All right. It's really, honestly, it's not that hard to become a genius in today's society, even though that term does get thrown around a little bit. Important points to take from that are, 1, it's not that hard to become a genius. And 2, it's pretty obvious conclusion you're going to come to. Well, like, what else are you going to become if you're not going to become a genius? All right. And you're going to see it's pretty cool when you do become a genius. All right. And lastly, when your friends, your family, people you work with, people who work under you, girls that you meet, other business deals, people do find you and see you as a genius, it's really not that difficult in today's world. And I'm going to show you exactly how in today's Elite Genius Talk. So what's the number one reason? The number one reason why being a genius is so awesome is, as a genius, you always have something interesting to say. And most importantly, it seems like you could always add something more, that there's something more that you could say. No matter who you're talking to, there's always something that you could add, something fascinating, something that challenges them, something that intrigues them, provokes them, or something that makes them think. All geniuses have this quality. And on top of that, of course, if you're always saying all these interesting things, it's not what you're saying that becomes interesting. It becomes you that becomes interesting. It's not the things that you're talking about that becomes interesting. It's actually you who becomes interesting. All right. If you have really good stories, anecdotes, facts, tidbits to share, you're not just interesting. That's when you become fascinating. And of course, when you're fascinating, that's when you become mesmerizing. And of course, when you're fascinating and mesmerizing, that's when you become unforgettable. And that's when they spend all of their time thinking about you. And on top of that, geniuses always seem like they have something that they could say. All right. And it seems, and I'm going to give you the exact formulas for this in a second, but it seems like they could always have something more to say, no matter what you're talking about. Maybe you're talking about something that someone did and you bring it back to that human drive. It was that it was a really creative, fascinating, interesting point. The way that you said it, the way that you relayed it, it was so obvious to you, but to the other person, it seems like there was a little bit more. You could talk about this subject all day. You could talk about this subject. You could fascinate people on this subject all day. All geniuses have that power. And people that you're talking to, they're like, damn, that's pretty interesting. And they go deep down, damn, that's pretty fucking interesting. And then they think to themselves, damn, they probably have way more. I probably get way more out of this conversation. That's a pretty good reason, right? That's the first reason. Let's move on. A second reason. When you are a genius, it means that you can go freely and you can go bravely into enter any conversation that you want. All right. And which is, of course, the mastery of human communication, which means, of course, you don't have to plan what you're going to say no matter where it is that you go. If you're, for example, if you're in front of 100 people, you really don't have to plan that much what you're going to say because you are a genius. All right. You have all this. You have all this knowledge on all these different situations. Let's just say that you go in a conversation with the girl, you don't have to say anything. You don't have to stay away from the different subjects because you know you might not have a lot of things to say. You always have things to say, all right, on any subject because you have that wisdom, that breadth of knowledge. Of course, I'm going to show you exactly how to attain that in just a second. Now, when you add the fact that you have all this wisdom on top of having all this good conversation mechanics, and you bring that energy into the conversation, that natural charm, all those high status sub communications, it makes them want you. It makes you attractive. You have that me-you communication, which is what you're talking about, and you bring everything, what you're talking about, either back to them or back to you. And it also linked to their subconscious identity, and you always bringing it back to those foundational aspects, which is them or you, which makes conversations so addictive. And you know all the words that you're saying are being drawn over high status, high value status, honest signals, which are the 12 honest signals, which is, of course, the most important in terms of being a genius. All right. So what are the 12 high value, high status, honest signals? I'm only going to go over these one time right now. So let's go over them right now. Number one, high status state, mastery of yourself. For long-term success, you must consistently put yourself in the most positive, most attractive, most resourceful state, resourceful mood. So that mood that becomes the feeling that you wake up to and you go to sleep into every single day, which that gives you so clear direction on your purpose, on your mission, so that nothing penetrates your shell. Your outer shell is impenetrable. And at the end of the day, that is so powerful when you are the irresistible sole dictator of how you feel, of your mood. The second is your body language. When you stand up, when you sit down, all your mannerisms, movements, how you carry yourself. The number one key is to constantly self-correct, read situations on what other people are feeling, and become a long-term student of body language. Learn from it, master it, get even better at it, and that's how you know it's going to be working. Okay, always be leaning back. Make yourself comfortable first. Everyone wants you to be high status. Make the commitment to the smirk, not to the smile. Okay, when you have that high status body language, people conclude that you are in control of your reality. The third, high status direction. being on your path. That's what matters. All right. And that's what makes you naturally more indifferent when you're on your path, more indifferent to everything else out of you. Remember that the world will tend to accept the judgment that you place on yourself as true, because when you are full bore on your path, killing it towards your mission in your life, your vision, it gives everyone else the permission to go after what the fuck they want and be free and go after exactly what they want without guilt. The truth is, as human beings, it is our biological imperative to go after exactly what it is that we want to get. The fourth is high status voice, vocal projection, vocal enunciation, vocal projection. Have that enunciation awareness. Okay, be aware of those enunciations. Be aware of it and self-correct it. No matter what you're saying or what you're doing, if it's coming through a shitty voice, it's repellent. And that relays what value that you perceive yourself as to everyone that you meet. The fifth high status honest signal is detachment or indifference. All right, we want that which retreats from us, and we pursue that which does not want us. People who try really hard, who seem really needy, who simply are perceived as not cool. But detachments, carefreeness, that gives you that mystery, and it makes you different and stand out. Affecting someone deeply on this emotional level makes you extremely attractive. The sixth high status honest signal of truth giving, being a truth teller, who the people you're surrounded by. Truth tellers have no problem polarizing. Okay, truth giving is a pattern interrupt because no one speaks that truth that you're speaking. All right, it communicates on this deep vibing level that cannot be rejected, and it demands attention because it shows that you love yourself, you love your words, and you love your actions. The seventh high value, high status walk. It's that sexually powerful Brad Pitt, James Bond walk. All right. It's a two-step process. Number one, model someone until you start getting the same results that they get. And number two is innovate and then add your own flair into your walk after you model, and then make it a conscious practice on how you're going to be doing it. Make it a conscious practice as you're walking. Every time you walk, practice excellence. So when everyone sees you, they're enamored and mesmerized at what they see. The eighth, high status, high value, honest signal of charm. Okay, it's so good to be charming, and it's so good how to be understand how to be charming. So just have that natural, irresistible charm so that you can just seduce the entire world and everyone that you meet. The ninth, charisma. Charisma predisposes leadership. Charisma is charm and is strategic charm in motion. Everyone wants to be around charismatic people, but because it gives you a sense of purpose and vision. Everyone wants to be a part of that inspiration because that inspired, charismatic person is so on his path and not looking to have those people live up to his standards. It inspires them to get on their path. And of course, when you are very clear on your vision, the purpose, your purpose and your certainty just comes naturally. If you got it, you can't hide it. If you don't got it, you can't show it. The 10th, high status, eye contact. This is the complete command of one's own eyes in the present moment, in the full attention in the present moment. Remember that your eyes are the window to your soul. Okay, men lie, women lie, but is it impossible for your eyes to lie? So when you use deep, powerful, relaxed eye contact, it screams high status. The 11th, high status style. People gather what you're saying about yourself, even if you're not saying anything about how you accessorize yourself. Remember that the world will tend to accept the judgment that you place on yourself. Remember that. The 12th is high status sexual energy. You're globally attractive and universally sexually attractive. Lastly, good conversation mechanics means that there's nothing more powerful than stories. There's nothing more powerful than anecdotes that you can share. They don't have to be long stories. They can be 10-second stories that you can share, because when you understand good conversation mechanics and you have that breadth of knowledge as a genius, you can go into any situation that you want, and you can go into any situation whenever, no matter when. You can wow anybody, anytime, anywhere. Reason number 3, when you're a genius, you get paid more and you're valued higher. Again, when you're a genius, you're paid more and you're valued higher. You get promoted faster, and people meet you and they say, that's a guy who's going to be at the top pretty soon. It's pretty obvious to them that you're going to the top. You're the one on top of your shit. They don't even know what it is, but they're thinking, this guy is just a genius. You are a genius. You are going to the top. You are going to be legendary, okay? Do not mistake it for a second. The frame or expectation that people think that you're going to the top usually creates that outcome later on in the future, okay? People who in the past have risen up the ranks in a company, let's just say, they didn't like, it wasn't like the delusional loser person who gets there and some miracle happens, that some things that weren't in their control that happen, that they get really lucky and then they end up on top. All right, it's not like the underdog actually made it. That's not how it usually works in the real world reality. All right, in the real world reality, that person, you get to the company, hopefully you're already a genius and you already knew CBG, you knew me, and you went through this program before people would peg you as a person who is just rising to the top. You're just someone who is going to be on top of his shit. You're just the person who's going to be on top of your shit. That's the person who's going to deliver. You're the person who is going to go above and beyond. You're the person who is going to do whatever it fucking takes to make our company succeed and profit. And you have those expectations surrounding you in your allure. And you're just going to take this company and that company and your business to the top. When people expect you and they have those labels surrounding you, those expectations usually can give you enough fuel to boost you in those times where you don't feel it. All right. Reason number 4, successful strategies build your legend. All right. When you're a genius, you know more strategies and you know more successful strategies than everyone else. All right. Your so-called circle of reference is always getting bigger than everyone else. So if you are, for example, if you're working with a team and you're looking for strategies to make an edge or succeed in this situation, well, if you're a genius, you're going to have several other circles of reference to pull different strategies to solve this situation, to solve this problem. And everyone is giving ideas. And because you're a genius, you are breeding a specific book who faced a similar problem 100 years ago, and they used a specific strategy that helped them get it. and then you bring that same strategy to this table that no one else knew, and it was the right one. It was the right one that solved the problem, and you came up with it. Guess what? You were a genius to them. Okay, and I'm going to show you exactly how the exact genius building habits, exactly how in today's talk. Okay, I'm going to go over that in just a second. That will allow you to have that bigger circle of reference, that will allow you to have the strategy. To everyone else, you're going to seem like a genius. And then and that's when you get in that situation, the best part, this is the best part about becoming a genius. Your legend begins to grow. All right. Your legend begins to grow. What happens is when you're a genius, just at a conversation, you're out with some friends and you tell him the right words to get him laid or close a deal, because you're the one who always has the strategies that solve the problems. Success surrounds you, and your legend begins to get passed on. How do you think someone's legend begins to grow? A legend is created when people start telling your story for it. They start telling and sharing your story with friends, with other people. People start talking about you. That's how your legend is created. That's how it begins to grow. Okay. When you're a genius, because you're constantly the cause, you're constantly not reacting, you're constantly responding to all these successful solutions with all these successful strategies. And when you're delivering these successful strategies and you start solving $1 million questions on massive levels, before you started out and you went out with a couple of your buddies, and now you start solving $1 million questions, right? You start delivering strategies and you start becoming the local legend. But when you're working on a $1 billion company, you guys are building something amazing and there's an obstacle in the way, and you have the right strategy and you bring it up, and you're the hero, and that legend gets passed around, that's pretty incredible, because that's when you are remembered. That's when people start talking about you, and that's when your legend is growing and it's never ending. So that are the 4 most powerful reasons why you always want to be a genius. And I'll share with you just a second the exact keys for you to be a genius every single day. Stay tuned. I'll be right back.